Dr. S. shocking message revealed. What I discovered that night changed my life forever. Liz stood at the counter of the diner, her hands trembling from the heat of the grill, the smell of frying burgers filling the air like a warm hug. Her heart raced, but not from the fast-paced rhythm of the kitchen. It was the weight of her life pressing down on her. She had just turned 38, and life seemed relentless. The diner, where laughter once echoed, now felt like a hollow shell, the faces of the townsfolk slipping away as the economic downturn took its toll. Each day, she fought against despair, pushing herself to keep the spirit of her father alive, her father the revered veteran whose sacrifices for justice were woven into the fabric of their small town. It wasn't just about serving burgers and fries. It was about legacy, about standing up for what was right. It felt impossible some days, carrying his spirit while trying to provide for Jake, now 16 and full of hope yet struggling with the harsh reality around him. One cold evening, after a long shift drenched in grease and exhaustion, Liz bent down to sweep the floor and found an unmarked envelope, dust-covered and hidden in a corner. Her breath caught as she recognized her father's bold handwriting. It felt like a message from beyond, sparking both fear and anticipation. She opened it slowly, her heart pounding. Inside was a heartfelt letter, revealing a past of economic injustice that her father had fought against during his deployment. His words danced off the page, igniting a surge of emotions. He spoke of a community rallying for dignity, battling prejudice just as they were now. Liz's eyes teared up, realizing that her father's fight was not just a piece of personal history, it was a plea for resilience that echoed through generations. The next day, the tranquility shattered like a glass dropped on a hard floor. A wealthy developer stormed through the diner's door, slick and smug, unveiling plans to bulldoze the diner for a luxury housing project. Jobs for the community, he declared, his voice dripping with sugar-coated deceit. Liz felt betrayal wash over her like a cold wave. Their diner, their stories, their legacy were at risk of being erased. Determined and fueled by her father's revelations, Liz rallied her neighbors. They gathered under the flickering neon sign of the diner, sharing their own stories of hardship and instinctive resilience. Together, they formed an unbreakable bond, united by the longing for recognition and respect. As they prepared for the town hall meeting, Liz's heart pounded. She stood before the crowd, a wave of fear washing over her, but there was no turning back. "This is our home," she declared, clenching the letter her father wrote, her voice rising with each word. "This letter isn't just about my father, it's about all of us. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The room buzzed with anxious energy, her words striking a chord deep within. Could they really come together to fight for their roots? Murmurs of agreement spread like wildfire as others shared their trials. But just when it seemed hope flickered brighter, the developer countered with a calm arrogance that threatened to crush her spirit. Liz took a deep breath, every beat of her heart echoing her father's legacy. She was standing on the cusp of change, yet the path ahead felt fraught with peril. Would they emerge victorious together, or would the weight of financial power shatter every dream? As silence fell, Liz clung tightly to her father's ideals, her own future. And Jake's hanging precariously in the balance. The battle had just begun. The atmosphere in the town hall was electric, the kind of tension that made sweat bead at the back of Liz's neck. She could see the faces of her neighbors, their eyes glistening with fear and hope. They all felt the weight of the moment, standing in solidarity against a force that seemed insurmountable. Liz took a moment to gather her thoughts, her heart drumming loudly in her chest. "Look," she began, grounding herself in the sea of concerned faces, "I know change is hard. I know we're scared. But if we let this developer come in and tear down our diner, we're letting him tear apart our community." Her voice gained strength as she spoke, fueled by the memories encapsulated in her father's letter. The developer, a polished man in an expensive suit, stood ready to counter. He flashed a smug smile, tossing his perfectly coiffed hair back. Let us be honest, Liz. This diner isn't what it used to be. People need new opportunities. These luxury houses will bring jobs, security. His words echoed through the hall but landed like stones in Liz's chest. As he spoke, Liz could feel the weight of her father's legacy settle upon her shoulders. They weren't just fighting for a building, they were fighting for their stories, their struggles, and the future. It's not about the diner, sir, she shot back, her voice ringing clear in the hushed hall. It's about the heart of this community. It's about supporting one another, not tearing us apart for profit. Her words crashed against the cold wall of the developer's greed. An elderly woman in the back shouted, "What do we get if you destroy us? A parking lot? A facade for the rich?" Liz could feel the heat surge in the room, a shared sentiment that grew stronger with each pulse of defiance. The developer's mask began to crack. He was losing them. Jobs. Opportunity. He insisted, but his words fell flat. The murmurs of an angry crowd started to swell. It was a symphony of voices that resonated with the history of their town, a calling to rise together. Jake sat amongst the crowd, his eyes wide and filled with admiration. For the first time, Liz saw the determination in his face. He believed in her fight. The thought of him, standing at the precipice of adulthood, gave her renewed strength. She thought of her father and how he taught her to never back down. With a deep breath, she took a step forward. We have faced hardship before, and we've come out stronger. We want to let this developer write the end of our story. The applause erupted like an explosion, washing over her with waves of warmth and support. But, just as the tide seemed to turn in her favor, a voice cut through the excitement. This is just the start, Liz, the developer warned with a glint of menace in his eyes. You don't know what you're up against. Liz felt a flicker of fear. What did he mean? Was there more on the line than just the diner? Suddenly, a twist of fate loomed before her. A newspaper reporter had captured every moment, every emotion, and Liz understood an undeniable truth. Their fight was bigger than she had imagined. The whole town would know about their struggle, and with that came a new kind of power. As she stood there, the weight of her father's wisdom swirling around her, she realized the confrontation was just the beginning. A battle lay ahead, one that would require resilience, strategy, and unity. But would they be able to face the shadows lurking in the developer's threatening words? The night was still young, and for Liz, the fight for her father's legacy and her community had only just begun. What could they unearth together once they dared to dig deeper? The town hall meeting triumphed with an overwhelming sense of solidarity. As people filed out, Liz felt the warm glow of determination coursing through the crowd. But alongside this empowerment lay uneasiness. The developer's words replayed in her mind. You don't know what you're up against. Jake caught up with her, excitement buzzing in his voice. That was amazing, Liz. You really got through to them. She smiled, pushing aside the worry swirling in her chest. Thanks, Jake. But what if he really has more up his sleeve? His brows knit in concern. What do you mean? He seemed different. Like he had a plan beyond just the diner. Jake's face paled, the moment's energy dissipating. You think he could hurt us? Liz might have brushed off her fears under normal circumstances, but not this time. I don't know, but I need to figure it out. For all of us. With Jake at her side, Liz decided to visit the diner, the heart of their community. As they walked, memories flooded back, the smell of pancakes on Sunday mornings, laughter bouncing against the walls, familiar faces sharing stories over coffee. The diner was not just a building, it was a treasure chest of joyful moments. Inside, the familiar sound of the bell above the door clanged as they entered. It was late, but Maria, the waitress who had been there for decades, was still cleaning the counter. She looked up, a smile breaking her tired expression. You two looked like you just won a prize. What's the news? Liz glanced at Jake before responding. We had the town hall meeting. It went well, but? Maria leaned in, sensing the unease in Liz's voice. The developer. He's got plans we haven't even thought of, Liz confessed. We need to protect this place. Maria's smile faded. I've heard whispers. Big money always brings big trouble. Whispers? Jake's tone sharpened. What are you talking about? Liz felt her heart race as she listened. They say he's backed by investors who don't care about our town. They're planning to turn this whole area into a shopping center, gentrify everything. Maria's voice trembled. I heard it from the ladies at bingo. The weight of Maria's words hit like a freight train. We can't just let them come in and take over. Liz exclaimed, her voice tinged with desperation. Exactly, Maria said with fierce resolve, as if shaking off the dread that had lingered. We've built this place together. We have to band together. Liz felt a spark light inside her. Maybe they could take their fight to the next level. We need to rally everyone. We need a plan. As they discussed strategies, the door creaked open, and in walked a man wrapped in shadows, his face obscured. Liz's heartbeat quickened. She squinted, trying to make out his expression, but he remained an enigma. Liz, he said, his voice low and serious. I have something to tell you. Something you need to know about the developer. A shiver ran down Liz's spine. What could he possibly know? Why was he here? The air thickened with anticipation and uncertainty. This was the moment of truth. What secrets did this stranger hold, and how would they change everything? With her heart ready to burst, Liz took a step closer, ready for whatever revelation lay ahead. The man stepped further into the dim light of the diner, revealing worn leather boots and a jacket that seemed to absorb the shadows around him. His face slowly emerged, revealing deep lines and weary eyes that had witnessed far more than Liz could imagine. What do you know about the developer? Liz asked, her voice steady, but the quake in her heart betrayed her. The man hesitated, glancing at the diner's half-empty booths. My name is Roy. I've lived here long enough to see plenty of these plans come and go. But this one, it's different. Liz exchanged anxious glances with Jake and Maria, who had moved closer, drawn in by the gravity of Roy's tone. How so? Liz pressed, feeling the weight of the moment. Roy let out a heavy sigh and leaned against the counter, the past haunting his every word. He's got connections, high up. It's not just about the diner. He wants to reshape the entire town. You see, they want to turn this community into a playground for outsiders, and from what I've heard, they're looking at the land not just for shopping but for housing developments that will push out the locals. Liz's stomach twisted. But how can we stop them? Roy's eyes narrowed, a flicker of hope igniting within. You can gather the community. Show them what they stand to lose. When people realize it's not just a diner at stake, they'll fight together. Maria crossed her arms, her expression fierce. We've built our lives here. Our families have been here for generations. We won't let it go without a fight. Liz felt the fire swell within her. We need to mobilize everyone, organize a meeting. We need to show them that this isn't just about one place, it's about our homes, our lives. Roy nodded, his intensity matching hers. And don't underestimate how much support you might have. Talk to the businesses. Get the younger crowd involved. If they see they could lose everything, they might finally listen. Her mind raced with ideas. They would need signs, pamphlets, meetings, everything to rally the town behind them. Suddenly, a sense of clarity washed over her amidst the chaos. As they mapped out their plans, laughter and chatter faded from the diner's background noise, replaced by a growing determination. Together, they could fight back the tide threatening to wash over their lives, but how far would they have to go? Suddenly, the diner door swung open again, and the bell chimed loudly, interrupting their moment. A group of teenagers burst in, jostling and laughing, but fell silent as they noticed the tension in the room. Their curiosity piqued at the sight of the stranger, who stood rigid by the counter. Liz recognized this as the moment to reach out beyond their immediate circle. Hey folks! She called out, and the teenagers looked her way, intrigued. We're organizing a response to protect our diner and our town. Who's with us? One girl stepped forward, her expression fierce. "Count us in." The cheerful spirit of the diner rekindled for a moment, but Liz could see the challenge ahead. The developer wasn't just a threat to the diner. He symbolized a changing world that would not yield without a fight. Yet as she looked around at her friends and newfound allies, she felt a surge of hope. "Tomorrow, we make those plans official," Liz declared. "And I want everyone to spread the word." With nods of determination surrounding her, a perception of shared purpose ignited. But somewhere in her mind lurked a question: did they truly understand what they were up against? As the meeting wrapped up and people filed out, Liz couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. Just as she was about to leave, Roy motioned for her to stay. "Liz, I need to warn you about something else. What you don't know could put everyone in danger." Her heart pounded fiercely as she leaned closer, bracing herself for the unknown depths of this battle. What did Roy know that could endanger them all? Liz sensed a chill creep up her spine as she leaned in closer to Roy. The weight of his words hung in the air like a storm cloud, thick and suffocating. "What are you talking about?" she asked, anxiety lacing her tone. Roy glanced around the diner, ensuring no one lingered nearby. "The developer isn't just here for the land," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the humming fluorescent lights. "He has plans that reach much deeper. This isn't just a business deal, it's about control." The intensity in his eyes sent a wave of discomfort rippling through her. "Control? Over what exactly?" "Over the people," he continued, his words slow and deliberate. "He has intentions to manipulate this community, turn folks against each other. He'll pit family against family, neighbor against neighbor. It will tear this town apart from the inside out." Liz's heart raced. The thought of discord spreading through their close-knit community felt like salt on an open wound. "But how can we stop that?" "We need to unite everyone." Roy nodded gravely, his hands tightening into fists. "That's the first step. But you must be careful. The more you gather support, the more he'll be watching. He can twist things, turn your own words against you." A knot formed in Liz's stomach as dread washed over her. "You think he might try to intimidate us?" "Count on it," Roy replied, voice dropping even lower. "He's a predator in a suit. And the moment he gets wind of your plans, yes?" Liz urged, desperate to know. "Don't get caught alone, stay in public places," he cautioned. "And remember, desperate people do desperate things. Even people you thought were your allies may turn against you under pressure." Watching Roy, the flicker of misgivings played across her mind, a swirl of fear, but also a steely resolve. She thought about all the people she'd seen that night, standing together for a common cause. Surely they could withstand this. Surely they wouldn't fracture so easily. But as Roy's words sank deeper, Liz felt the foundation of her own certainty begin to shake. "If we show strength and unity, we can fight him. Our community has something more than a diner to protect." "I know," Roy finished for her. "But even strong bonds can be exploited. Trust gets twisted easily. Look at what he's done before." His caution hung heavy in the air. Liz turned, seeking out Jake and Maria, who had been busy talking amongst themselves, gathering more voices for their cause. She caught sight of the teenagers, vibrant and buzzing with energy, yet also blinded by youthful optimism. Will they understand? Liz thought. Her heart tugged toward danger, but equally, her determination pushed her forward. They had to meet tomorrow. They had to speak out. She imagined the faces of her friends, neighbors, and the town at large, all banding together. Nothing could shatter that bond, could it? Roy seemed to catch that flicker of her spirit. Just promise me one thing, he said, snapping her back to the present. Don't underestimate how far he'll go to silence you. Liz's gaze hardened. I won tea. As they moved toward the exit, a sudden noise caught Liz's attention. Outside, a shadowy figure stood by the diner's entrance, watching intently. When Liz's eyes met his, something cold settled in her bones. The developer. He had come, and he was close. Well, we can't back down now, Roy muttered as they stepped outside. Liz felt her chest tighten, the urgency surging within her once more. They had to strategize to face whatever was coming. They had to be ready. But as the echo of the bell rang above them, Liz couldn't shake the feeling that their darkest moments were still ahead. What secrets was the developer hiding that could threaten everything they loved? The fight for their community was just beginning, and the stakes were higher than she ever imagined. Would they come together, or would the shadows tear them apart? Liz stepped outside, the cold air greeting her like a slap. The developer's eyes seemed to pierce through her, dark and calculating. Every instinct screamed at her to retreat, to scramble back into the diner where there was safety in numbers. "Stay close," Roy murmured, his posture tense. The developer didn't budge, leaning against the brick wall, arms crossed. It was a show of dominance, an intimidation tactic that sent a chill through Liz. She felt exposed, like a gazelle in the spotlight of a lion, the moment stretched. She had half a mind to confront him, to demand answers. But what could she say? The words caught in her throat, tangled with fear. What does he want? She wondered. Just as she was about to look away, the developer broke into a smug smile. "Evening, folks," he called out, his tone casual yet dripping with condescension. "Heard there's quite a stir about my plans. Fascinating how rumors spread, don't you think?" Liz's heart raced. "Rumors? You're tearing this community apart." She shot back, her voice filled with defiance. She felt Roy's presence beside her, a grounding force as she confronted the threat that loomed before them. A glimmer of surprise flashed across the developer's face, but then he laughed, a hollow, mocking sound. "Oh, is that what you think? This isn't about your quaint little town. It's about progress, about moving forward." "Forward?" she echoed, incredulous. "You mean about digging your claws into our lives?" "Quite the dramatist," he replied smoothly, pushing off the wall and stepping closer, forcing Liz to fight the urge to back down. "Tell me, where do you think progress comes from?" "Sacrifices must be made." Liz's fists clenched at her sides. She needed to stand her ground. "Sacrifices? Is that what you call ruining lives?" He leaned in slightly, the self-satisfied grin returning to his face. "In the end, Ms. Liz, it's about survival of the fittest. Some will thrive, while others—" He let the sentence hang, filling the air with unspoken threats. "Leave them alone," Roy interrupted fiercely, stepping forward. "They deserve better than your games." The developer's eyes turned narrow, shifting his interest fully to Roy. "Ah, the loyal friend. Perhaps you don't understand how this works. It's all about power." The anger simmered beneath Liz's skin. "You think you have power over us? We want to let you take anything away." Spoken like true rebels, he sneered, but the undercurrent in his voice gave her pause. He wasn't just standing there with a casual threat, he was sizing them up, the gears in his mind whirring. "You'd be wise to consider your words," he continued, shifting back to Liz. "Actions have consequences, and resistance, well, it can become a catalyst for unfortunate events." The implications of his words settled heavy, curling Liz's insides into knots. Panic mingled with her resolve. "We will fight you," she replied, though her voice wavered slightly, betraying her uncertainty. With a final, chilling smirk, the developer stepped back. "I look forward to seeing how this little drama plays out." He turned and walked away, confidence in every step, leaving a thick tension in the air. The moment he disappeared from sight, Liz's breath rushed out of her like a burst balloon. Anger boiled inside her. "We can't let him do this," she gasped. "We need to rally everyone. If we don't stand together, then we will fall apart," Roy finished, gravity in his tone. He surveyed the street, the darkening sky, and the looming threat of isolation. "We need to move fast and build trust." "But how?" Liz felt the weight of uncertainty crushing her. "Who can we trust?" As they walked back to the diner, her mind raced with thoughts. They needed allies, voices to counter the developer. If only everyone understood just how high the stakes were, but just then, Liz caught sight of a familiar face watching from the shadows of an alleyway. Her heart skipped a beat. What were they doing there, and how much did they hear? Was this one of their neighbors, or was it a lurking enemy? The clock was ticking, and the choice was becoming dire. How far was she really willing to go for her community? Liz's heart raced as she squinted into the shadows. The figure seemed to shift, hesitating between stepping forward and retreating deeper into the darkness. Did you see that? Roy asked, his voice low. Yeah, she replied, her pulse pounding in her ears. But who is it? They edged closer, careful not to make too much noise. The alley was dim, but a flickering streetlight cast just enough light to illuminate the familiar features of Tommy, their neighbor from 2 blocks down. His expression was tense, eyes darting as if he was caught in a moment of indecision. Tommy? Liz called out, the anxiety in her voice mingling with a flicker of hope. What are you doing here? Tommy stepped forward, hands shoved deep into his pockets. I saw you guys out here. Roy narrowed his eyes, assessing the situation. You heard what he said about the development? Tommy nodded, glancing back toward the street as if afraid their conversation might draw unwanted attention. Yeah. I can't believe he's targeting us. I knew he was trouble from the start. Liz felt a rush of relief wash over her. You understand what this means for our community. We need to act. Tommy rubbed the back of his neck nervously. I don't know. People have been so divided lately. My neighbor across the street is all for progress, just like that developer. Frustration bubbled inside her. This isn't just about progress. It's about our homes, our families, our way of life. A silence hung heavy in the air. Tommy shifted uncomfortably, his gaze drifting away. But what can we do, Liz? People are scared. Fear shouldn't stop us from fighting, she urged, her voice cracking with fervor. If we don't unite, if we don't trust each other, he wins. The tension slowly shifted in Tommy's posture. You're right. But where do we even start? Liz felt a spark ignite in her chest. We need a meeting. Get everyone together. Share the truth about what's happening. Once they see the real consequences. Roy's brow furrowed as he considered. But not everyone will show up. There'll be mistrust. We might need a way to prove that this development really is a threat. What if we gather evidence? Tommy offered, nibbling at the edge of determination. We can go around, talk to people, document their stories, the ones that could get hurt. Make them see it's not just about buildings. Yeah. Connect emotionally, Liz encouraged. People are more likely to act if they feel it personally. But will they believe us? Tommy's doubt lingered in the air. What if they turn against us? Then we have to be even louder, Roy said firmly. Show them our unity. We can make our voices heard. Together. The 3 of them stood in the shadowy alley, charged with urgency. Liz felt the weight of her community on her shoulders. Let us do it, she said finally, determination kicking in. Let us bring everyone together, remind them why we're fighting. As they turned to leave, Liz felt a wave of adrenaline and fear crash over her. But soon, that fear was replaced by a flicker of hope, the faint realization that they could make a difference. As they stepped out onto the street, something shifted in the air. The tension of the day still clung to her, yet there was a glimmer of resolve in every step they took. But just as they crossed the sidewalk, Liz heard an unsettling sound. A low growl echoed from the shadows, and suddenly, she felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. What was that? Roy whispered, his eyes wide. They froze. The night wasn't finished with them yet. In the dark, danger lurked, and it wasn't just the developer they had to worry about. The growl echoed again, a chilling sound that seemed to wrap around them like a thick fog. Liz glanced at Roy and Tommy, their expressions mirroring her own panic. Time froze for a heartbeat. Maybe it's a dog? Tommy suggested, though his voice betrayed his uncertainty. Or something worse, Liz whispered, her eyes straining to pierce the darkness. The shadows felt alive now, shifting and swirling as if breathing. "Should we move?" Roy hissed. "No, wait," Liz replied, desperation threading through her voice. "If it is a dog, it could be scared. We don't want to provoke it." The growl came again, closer now. The three of them instinctively stepped back, the clatter of a trash can echoing down the alley. Liz's heart was hammering against her ribs. She felt trapped as fear coiled tighter around her. "Please let it be a dog," Roy mumbled, his face pale. Suddenly, a figure bolted from the shadows, a scruffy dog, fur matted and eyes wild. It raced past them, barking frantically, its focus on something unseen deeper in the alley. "Just a dog," Liz exclaimed, relief flooding her veins, but before they could catch their breath, the dog skidded to a halt, barking at a figure that stepped out from the darkness moments later. Liz's relief evaporated, replaced by dread as the silhouette came into sharp focus. "Tommy." The voice was low but sharp, a familiar sound that turned her stomach. "Mr. Callahan?" Tommy's voice wavered. "What are you doing here?" Mr. Callahan, the developer himself, stepped further into the faint light. His expression was calculating, a smirk curling his lips. "I came to check on a little project, and it seems I've found some interesting company." "What do you want?" Liz demanded, her pulse quickening. His eyes sparkled, dark and glinting like the edge of a blade. "You know, it's almost amusing to see you all ganging up. But really, you should prepare yourselves. Change is inevitable. People like you don't stand a chance." An anger ignited inside her. "You don't get to decide that for us. Our community matters." "Community?" he sneered. "People who follow your lead. You're just stirring the pot, making things worse. You think you can stop me?" Liz felt a tinge of doubt creeping back, but she shoved it aside. "We will. You underestimate us." Mr. Callahan chuckled darkly. "Good luck, then." With that, he turned and walked away, his silhouette swallowed by the shadows he emerged from. The growling dog followed him, bark fading into the distance. Liz felt the air grow heavier in his absence, uncertainty gnawing at her. "What was that?" Tommy gasped, shaking slightly. Liz swallowed hard, trying to shake off her unease. "We can't let him intimidate us. We need to move fast." "Should we still plan that meeting?" Roy asked, looking between them for answers. "Absolutely." Liz nodded, feeling the weight of her resolve return. "We're going to show everyone that he's the real threat. We have to share our stories, make them believe." But even as she spoke, doubt simmered in the back of her mind. Would they really listen? Would they come together against someone like him? The chill of the night clung to her skin, and she couldn't shake the haunting feeling that this was only the beginning. As they started walking again, she couldn't help but wonder, what else was lurking in the shadows, ready to emerge? The night was dark, but the fight ahead loomed larger. Would they be ready for it? As they continued to walk, Liz couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that had settled deep in her bones. The darkness around them felt heavier now, almost suffocating. With each step, the weight of doubt pressed against her resolve. What if the community didn't rally? A meeting. Tommy murmured, mostly to himself, as if the word alone could magically lift their spirits. "Yeah. A meeting," Liz echoed, trying to sound confident. "It's time to show them we're serious." Roy looked down the alley, where shadows danced like whispers around them. "Do you think the others will come? I mean, after what Callahan said?" "Of course they will." Liz snapped, more forcefully than she intended. "We've all seen what he plans to do. People care about this place. They just need a push." Tommy nodded slowly, but his eyes betrayed his swelling doubt. "So, how do we get everyone there?" "It's a weeknight. People are busy, and some might not even want to get involved if they think it's a lost cause." The night felt endless and Liz sensed the urgency in their voices. "We start with what we can control. We'll each tell families and friends. We'll post it online. Make it hard to ignore. Tommy hesitated. And if Callahan tries to scare us again? What if he does something? Liz felt her jeans cling to her legs in the damp night air. Then we confront him. Together. Roy frowned. Together? But what if he fights back? What choice do we have? Liz shot back, frustration bubbling. We either stand and fight or watch him destroy everything we love. Silence hung between them, heavy and electric. Finally, Roy sighed, his shoulders dropping. You're right. I'd rather fight. Good, Liz said, feeling a flicker of hope as they rounded the corner back onto Main Street. The world felt brighter here, even under the night's cloak. Streetlights flickered overhead, casting a soft glow that soothed her raw nerves. Let us take a breath, Liz suggested as they paused by the old community center. It had been a hub for their gatherings, the heart of their small town. We'll get everyone on board. We'll remind them why it matters. Tommy took a deep breath, visibly calming. Yeah, we can make signs, flyers, maybe tell some stories that put a face to the issue. Roy's expression turned thoughtful. Personal stories? In a time like this, that could hit hard. People care about real lives, not just angry speeches or threats. Yes. Liz felt the excitement shift in the air. We will personalize it. We'll remind them of the families, the history, the parks their kids play in. It'll put a fire in their stomachs. Just then, a rustle came from the nearby bushes, making them freeze. Their hearts raced again, adrenaline spiking. Here we go again, Tommy murmured. But this time, it was different. From the shadows, a figure stepped out. It was a woman, her face illuminated briefly by the streetlight, tired but determined. I heard you, she said, voice quaking but fierce. I need to talk. About Callahan. Instinctively, the three took a step closer, curiosity mingled with caution. What do you know? Liz asked, her gut twisting with a new kind of anticipation. The woman glanced around, ensuring no one was watching. I've seen what he has been up to and I can help you. Suddenly, the night felt alive again, a pulse of possibility and danger coursing through it. Liz's heart raced with a new urgency. This was the beginning of something of plans that could really shift the tide. But what if Liz hesitated, fear creeping back in? Trust me, the woman interrupted, her gaze penetrating. There's more at stake than you realize. Just as 1,000 questions thrummed through Liz's mind, a loud crash erupted from down the street. A dumpster toppling over, metal clanging against concrete. The sound broke the tension, along with whatever plans they had made. What the hell, Roy started, but Liz could hardly listen. Her focus was consumed by the woman before them. What else is happening? She thought. What do you know? With that simple question, the night shifted dramatically. They had only begun to unearth the true fight ahead. Would they be able to handle what lay in store? The bustle of the diner faded into the background, replaced by the intensity of the moment. Liz's heart raced as she scrutinized the woman standing before them. The woman's eyes were stormy, a hint of dread and determination locked inside them. I promise you, I know exactly what Callahan has planned, she said, her voice steady and resolute. And it's worse than you think. What do you mean? Tommy asked, stepping slightly closer as if he could absorb some of her courage. His reach goes beyond your diner, she began, glancing towards the street, watching for threats. He's got plans to manipulate key players in the town, those who have influence and authority. Divide and conquer, that's his game. Liz felt her stomach churn. An icy dread settled deep within her. Are you saying he'll turn people against each other? Exactly. And his network? It's wider than you can imagine. The woman's urgency electrified the air around them. You need to unite as many people as possible before he executes his plans. The clock is ticking. Roy's eyes flicked to Liz, as if weighing the enormity of the situation. Then we need to act. Tonight. Right now, Liz echoed, her conviction suddenly clearer than ever. You're saying we can't wait another moment. We stand as one or we risk losing everything, the woman said, her voice pressing down on them like a physical weight. Liz could see that they were truly in a fight for their home, for their lives. Okay, let us do it, Liz said, resolve lifting her voice. We'll meet back at the diner. Get as many people as we can together. We need to spread the word. With a shared nod of determination, they moved, Tommy sprinting one way while Liz and Roy took another. As they ran through the hollow streets, Liz could almost feel the heartbeat of the town resonate with every step. The flickering streetlights illuminated all the memories, the laughing children, the aroma of fresh coffee, and the late-night conversations. This was worth fighting for. The hours seemed to pass like seconds as they began to gather faces. The old friends, the family members, the newcomers who had joined just a few years prior, they all arrived, drawn to the diner through fear and hope alike. By the time Liz stood at the front of the nearly packed diner, her heart pounded not just from effort, but from anticipation. Thank you all for coming, she started, her voice roiling with emotion. Tonight, we're not just standing for a diner, we're standing up for our homes, for our families, and our future. She clutched the letter so tightly that her knuckles turned white. We have a real fight ahead of us, a fight against someone who wants to tear our lives apart. The crowd murmured, leaning in closer, each person drawing in Liz's passion, her urgency. She spoke about the woman's warnings, about the want for unity. Each of you matters. Your stories matter. Together, we can show him that this is our home, our community, and nobody can take that away. Gestures of solidarity filled the room. The elderly couple who had run the bakery shared their history. The teenager from down the street spoke of her dreams and aspirations attached to this very community. Each voice layered upon the last, weaving together a tapestry of resilience. As the evening unfolded, there was an undeniable shift in there. Fear turned into empowerment, shared burdens forged connections. Liz stood back, taking it all in. The faces of those she loved, she felt her father's spirit rise within her, reminiscent of the hero he always had been. Together, we will fight, she proclaimed at the end of the gathering. Cheers erupted, the sound washing over her like a wave. But just as joy blossomed, a familiar smirk filled her memory. Was Callahan prepared for the pushback they were ready to deliver? Time passed quickly, and Liz found herself in the thick of planning leafleting, contacting local news, rallying everyone again. The movement took shape, a whirlwind of connection and ambition. Then came the day they had prepared for, showtime before the town hall. The atmosphere bristled with electricity. The community showed up, filling every seat, standing shoulder to shoulder in the space. As Callahan stood with the same smugness emanating from him as before, a powerful sense of unity filled every nook of the room. Liz took a breath, her heart echoing her father's words, "This fight is about more than us. This fight is for all who come after." The voices surged, filled with energy. Just as Callahan attempted to brush them off, Liz sprang to her feet. "We will not back down." Shouts of agreement surged around her, a tidal wave of support that rattled the walls. For the first time, Liz felt fear transforming into hope. Together, they were something more. As Callahan's expression twisted with disbelief, she looked around. The faces of her neighbors demanded nothing less than respect and recognition. The tide swelled against him, and as they unearthed the layers of what had been hidden, they exposed him, the community united as one solid force. The truth came out, stories weaved together as armor against the darkest of plans. In that moment, Liz felt a lightness in her chest. They had turned a corner, rising above the shadows that had clouded their hearts. Together, they would push back against the storm that had threatened to break them down. As applause erupted around her, she couldn't help but smile, tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. They were more than just stories in a diner now, they were a legacy of hope, and as she looked out at the sea of faces standing strong, the feeling surged through her. No matter the outcome, they had faced the darkness together. Now, let us carry on. If you resonated with Liz's journey in your heart, you need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next incredible stories. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach those who need inspiration. Comment your reactions, let us celebrate together.